longest-running computer show, Sound Bytes. Call the show now at 966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll-free 800-790-0415 or soundbytes.org. Now, alongside Steve Ray and Dave Enright, here's Nick Francesco on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Good afternoon, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all the chips in the PC. It is Saturday, the 15th day of June, Anno Domini 2024, and you lucky people, you're listening to Sound Bytes. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And at 5 minutes after the hour, we are going to be bringing you news, views, things to choose, nothing to lose. Kick off your shoes, don't get the blues. Here comes the news. Apple had their big developers conference this week and introduced, wait for it,
Nothing?
AI, just like everybody else. Not that this is a bad thing necessarily. There are a lot of time-saving and useful things that AI will be able to do for you, assuming you're willing to give it control of all your data. This is, of course, much less of a problem for Apple users than for Microsoft users, since Apple users think Apple has their best interests at heart. They also think that stripper actually likes them. Siri will now be AI-enabled, which can take a lot of the drudgery out of using your phone. The update, at least initially, seems to be limited to newer iPhones, iPads, and Macs with M-series chips, which will leave out a vast percentage of Apple device owners. Time to upgrade. It offers AI-powered assistance for writing, editing photos, and staying organized, leaving you more time to do the laundry. Some of the capabilities introduced are pretty nifty, but as to whether or not they're actually useful for any individual depends on what that individual does. Very few of us need to do complex math calculations on a daily basis. And how many of us have ever used a calculator and thought, I wish I could just write this? Updates to all the operating systems were announced, of course. Again, many including AI features. There were also more health-focused additions to Apple Watch and a more streamlined Apple TV Plus experience. Apparently, the Apple TV Plus experience was not good. They pushed the privacy a lot, especially after the Microsoft recall debacle. Whether or not you believe and or trust them is entirely up to you. At the end of the day, what basically happened was that Apple jumped on the AI bandwagon and added some features to their operating systems. Along the way, they will potentially kill some third-party apps. Whether or not AI is actually useful to you is something only you can decide. If you believe it is, chances are you'll have to upgrade your current hardware to get it. So our poll of the week at soundbytes.org, that's Bytes with a Y, Francis would like us to remind you, is Apple puts AI into everything. And your choices are, can't wait. Could be interesting. Can't see a use for it right now. What, them too? And now, where did I leave that slide rule? So far, we have 27 votes, and the number one vote, 29 votes, I beg your pardon. Up to date, this just in, 29 votes. And the number one choice by a lot is, now where did I leave that slide rule? So you can join us. It's easy enough to do. If you'd like to vote in the poll, just head on over to soundbytes.org. That is Bytes with a Y, Francis would like us to remind you. And you can vote in the poll there. If you'd like to talk to us, it's pretty easy. Just give us a call, 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll-free 800-790-0415.
I didn't get the pun until I was watching it a second time. Its AI is Apple intelligence.
Yeah.
It's not like everyone else's artificial. This is Apple intelligence, right. Yeah.
Which apples are not artificial. They're quite natural. So that makes sense.
But yeah, they made a big deal about it only happening on your device. And in the rare cases, they do need additional computing power. They've made a super special encrypted tunnel and a virtual machine on their own servers.
Yeah, exactly.
AWS.
Exactly.
For additional compute resources that are then deleted as soon as it's done.
Yeah.
But it's the whole AI thing is what we see in science fiction. Hey Shlomo, where
Shlomo, that's the name.
That's and from Andy and Echo.
Right.
Where did Joe and I agree to have lunch next week? And it can look in your contacts, it can look in your emails, it looks in your text messages. Oh, there it is, and here's the restaurant, and then it can answer back. Did you want me to make reservations for that? And you can say sure, and then it does. We want an intelligent assistant.
Right. But what I want is an assistant that does the laundry.
Yeah.
So that I have more time to do art. I don't need a thing that does art so I have more time to do the laundry. And that's where I stand with it, frankly.
Here's $1,000 machine that will fold your laundry for you.
Nice.
It's got multiple arms. Oh, it even pulls it out of the dryer and folds it for you and puts it on a table.
Nice. That's all right. That's okay. I'll take
Nice.
that. $1,000. That's cheap at half the price.
Yeah.
The other thing that I've been looking at is you can create your own digital assistant. You buy a computer, you put it on your network. You have to train it. See, the big thing is the training.
Yeah.
And you have to train it, but you can train it to do whatever you want. And you can also then have it go out on the internet and scrape sites and say, when was the Battle of 1812? If you really need AI to tell you that. And it'll come back and tell you.
Well, there's some sneaky ones. How long did the 100 Years' War last?
Right, not nearly 100 years.
Oh, no, it was 100. I think it was 115 years, but it wasn't 100 years.
Right.
Who's buried in Grant's tomb?
Nobody.
Because he's entombed there.
Right. Right. So yeah. Anyway, that's AI is going to be helpful in a lot of other ways. If right now we're already using something very like AI to do spam filtering. Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, whatever you want to call it. What happens is you send your email to the spam filter, and it figures out whether or not it's spam. Some of it is just by rules. Here's a hint. All AI is just rules.
Algorithms.
It's all the algorithms.
You need the buzzword.
Right. Sorry, excuse me. It's algorithms. And so you send it to there, and the algorithm decides whether or not it's spam. That's AI. That's at heart AI. They didn't call it AI because they didn't know AI was going to be a buzzword. But it's essentially AI. And that leads us to spam.
Spam.
No.
Spam.
Didn't you guys have spam things happen this week?
Oh yeah.
Cheese and crackers.
There's been a huge surge in spam texting this week. We've had several customers get hit by fake text messages from their bank, claiming to be from their bank, saying, did you buy this thing, approve or disapprove, which are probably messages you often get from your bank for real.
Right.
Except in a couple of the cases, the text told you to click on a link that didn't go to the bankname.com. It went to somebody else. The one was weird. It was Lord Vano. So why would I trust Lord Vano to approve my credit card charge?
Because he's a lord, for heaven's sake.
Yes. And it takes you to a fake website that looks pretty close with the real bank logo on it. You put in your username and password because you think you need to especially I didn't make that big charge. I better deny it.
Right.
So they panic you like that. And then it asks for your two-factor code because in the background, the bad guy took your username and password, went to the real bank. The real bank sent a two-factor code, and then you get that, give it to the bad guy, thinking you're at the bank, and now the bad guy's in your bank.
Right.
And we've had people lose hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's been a really bad month for a lot of our customers.
Anytime you get something like that, what you do is not panic.
Yep.
Then you take your towel and you go to the website of your bank. You log into the real bank, not clicking on a link in the email or in the text message. You go to your bank at the URL you've saved, and then you look at your account. Is there a charge there? No?
Yep.
Then it's fake.
And
just dump it.
A lot of the banks have also stopped using text messaging.
Right. For that reason.
For that reason, yeah. And they'll use the app. So, put your bank's app on your phone so that it can send you messages about charges. And the big issue that we're seeing is that the more urgent they make it sound, the more likely it is to be fake.
Right.
Yeah. Did you approve this 16? And it was a smart one too. Did you want to approve this $1,600 charge at Eastview Mall?
Oh, nice.
Eastview Mall is not a store.
Right.
It would be the store name, not the mall name.
But they found something close to you.
Yep.
And that's the important part
And it
for
came
most people.
it came from a phone number in Ohio. This was a local bank, so it would come from a local phone number.
Right.
But you don't look at that. And if you do get text messages from your bank, it will come from the same number every time.
Right.
So you'll be able to see all the previous messages that came in from that same bank.
And put them in your contact list.
Yeah.
So if, my bank doesn't come up, it's not your bank.
Right.
Yep.
On the same vein, I got an email that said, "Oh, yeah, thank you for the order," and it had my order confirmation name and all this other stuff, and stupid gibberish in the invoices. I don't think anything would be this long. And they were going, "Oh, it's auto pay," and then they've got a PDF that I went ahead because I was kind of guarding it anyways. Opened it up.
Which normally folks never open somebody's
Right.
PDF because many of them will automatically drop a virus onto your system. Do not open a PDF from a strange person.
Adobe made PDF so powerful, there's actually a programming language inside of it.
See, what I did is I opened it up on my one computer upstairs that's not connected to the internet.
Right.
Yep.
So you've got,
So
I get that, but
Yep.
what I'm warning is everybody else.
Oh, yeah, no. But here's where they're getting it. If you were dumb enough to do that, folks.
Well, it's not that they're dumb. It's they don't stop and think. They're getting tricked.
Yep.
Something bad is happening. I better respond.
Again, it's happening in your home where you
Yeah.
feel safe.
If
Yeah.
someone walked up to your door and said, "Hi, I'm from your bank. I need your password," or "I need $500," you'd laugh and close the door in their face.
Right, but this one had, again, like you said, the bank has the official Norton LifeLock
Yep.
logo on it. So you're thinking, oh, wait. And they're telling you, and this should be the key thing that would set you off. Please call, and they give this phone number to report this transaction was not you.
Right.
Well, gee, everybody's going, no, I didn't do that, and quick call that.
I better call them and let them
And
know.
bam, that's where they're going to nail you. Because what they do is they record your voice and they trick you into saying yes or okay. And then they can turn around and say, if you try to dispute it, they can go, well, here, we've got his voice sitting there saying, Mr. So-and-so, did you agree to do this? And they clip out the part that you said yes or okay.
Right.
And bam, they've got you, and then you're stuck. For this one would have been like over $398.
Yeah. And again, when you get one of these, don't open
Yeah.
it. Don't click on anything. Don't do any of that stuff. Go to your bank, not from
Yep.
the link in the email,
Yeah.
from the link you've saved ahead of time, which, by the way, means you should go to your bank right now, the real bank, and then mark
Check
that
it.
as a bookmark.
Check it there.
And then log into your bank and look at your account. Is there a charge there? No? Then it's fake. It's that. Yes. Is
So
it
many-
annoying that you have to do that regularly? Yes.
When-
Is it better than losing every penny in your account? Yes.
And regularly can mean every day or two.
I
Don't
look twice a day.
don't
morning
wait
and
and-
evening.
yeah.
It's 2
Yeah.
minutes.
don't wait until the end of the month when you get your credit card bill or your bank statement.
Oh, that's worse.
Do
Yeah,
people
yeah.
even reconcile their statements anymore? They just pay the bottom line.
Not everybody. He
Yeah.
does. Not everybody
Yep.
else.
What?
My wife always used to
No,
tease.
not anymore. I haven't done that in a long time. Matter of fact, once Lori passed, that's when I got on Quicken, and I can check, and I do check my account like you at least twice a day. And I am, since she passed, I have always balanced to the penny.
Yep.
Yep.
Because there's always that one receipt you forgot to enter, and then your balance goes
Right.
off. And,
Yeah, well, that's where
I
she
still got
taught.
checks. I must have money.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's where she taught me, if you transpose something, which I'm notorious for doing and that, and she showed me the trick there in accounting how to do it. But yeah, since then, I have always balanced to the penny, and I'm damn proud
way to
of
do
it
it. You should
because,
be.
folks, you would not know the way I did accounting before.
Yeah.
That
Oh, you didn't do accounting before. You didn't do anything before.
I caused my
And you ran a business.
and I caused no,
Yeah.
I ran the business part. My late wife ran the financial end,
Right, which
and
is
that's why we
the only reason you stayed in
That's
business.
why we stayed in business. Was due to her.
Yep. Yep.
Didn't rely on my bookkeeping. Oh hell no.
All right. We should probably go to the phones. Waiting hopefully patiently on the line is Doug from Holly, New York. Hiya, Doug. What's up?
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, I have a question. I'm interested in putting up a security camera, and I want to do it through PoE. And what I've done a little investigating on a switch for it. I have a basic switch used for connecting my Apple TV, but that wouldn't supply power, so I've got to get one that's powered. What I've noticed on the ones I've seen online were you have multiple ports to connect devices, but doesn't seem to be one that you would connect to a router or another switch. So
Pretty
that's
much.
where I'm kind of puzzled.
Well, any switch
Yeah, pretty
has
much
to
any of them.
connect.
Yeah, they don't. There used to be in the olden days. There was a dedicated port that was your upstream connection to the previous switch or to the previous internet service, something like that. They don't do that anymore. All of the ports on the switches are auto sensing, and also you don't necessarily need a new switch. You can get a PoE injector. But what that does is it plugs into power, and then you plug that into your current switch.
We should back up just a little bit.
PoE.
PoE means power over Ethernet. So right now, if you have to connect something to the internet, you plug it into power, and then you plug it into your network. Well, what PoE does is send power over a similar Ethernet cable right to the device, so that instead of having two connections, you only have one, which is the Ethernet cable, and the power comes over that as well as the Ethernet data.
So it's more convenient.
It's more convenient, means you have more places you can put the camera or whatever the device happens to be. So yeah, that's what we're talking about with PoE. The problem with PoE is that you need a switch or a router or whichever one you have that not only provides data but also provides power. So you need a PoE switch or a PoE router. So in this case, what Doug is talking about is not being able to find the WLAN connector on any of the new routers. And what Steve is saying is you don't need a dedicated WLAN port anymore.
Or uplink, they used to be called.
Or uplink. Any port you plug into is the uplink port. What happens is they're all auto sensing, as Steve said. So when you plug something in, it goes, oh, I'm getting data through here. This must be the uplink.
Okay, so the one that I have now, it's a real basic, inexpensive one, but it's not power.
Right.
I mean, it has an adapter on it, and I don't, you plug it into wall thing, but I don't think it.
Yeah, that's wall power. That's
camera.
not PoE power.
Right.
So
that's just power for the device itself.
You can add a PoE injector. They're $15, $20, or you could take this opportunity if you wanted to get a bigger switch. So that goes back to so many people do everything wirelessly, which is convenient, but wired is more efficient and doesn't interfere with each other like wireless can. So if you have wired devices going into a switch, then that can run more efficiently than trying to do too many wireless.
Also faster.
Yeah.
Most wireless connections are in the 400K range, 400 meg range. Wired can be gigabit.
Right. Yeah, I think I'll use this as an opportunity to go to a newer switch that has the power capabilities I'm going to need.
Sounds like a plan.
Thank you for your help, Paul.
All right, Doug, enjoy.
All right. Bye-bye.
We got a new security camera system for our office, and we got a NVR, network video recorder.
Nice.
A switch with a hard drive in it.
Right.
And the 2 terabyte drive wasn't big enough. So I'll get a 4 terabyte drive or more. But what annoyed me is it was an 8-port PoE switch, and so it supports 8 wired cameras and 8 wireless cameras. But the ports don't work as a generic Ethernet port. They only support their own camera.
That stinks.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was trying to use it, to set it up where it needs to go. Because all the cameras are at one end of our office, and all our wiring switches and hubs are at the other end of the
office. Of course they are.
I was able to get it to go from one end to the other. But just I got empty ports here. I can plug a computer into that for test. No, why don't you work? No Ethernet. It only works on their camera.
That stinks.
So I'm trying to think why. So the Ethernet controller chip that supports the PoE, what is it, 2 cents cheaper to not support generic, the 802.11?
Well, the idea is you'd have to buy their camera. They're locking
Yeah.
you in. That's what that's about. Even if the
Proprietary.
PoE costs
Yeah.
more.
Yep.
Right. When I was at RIT, one of the things we looked at was putting in PoE clocks
Yeah.
everywhere. The clocks were inexpensive. The switches were inexpensive. The wiring was
Yeah.
horrible in terms of price. Of course, we're in an all brick building, so
Yeah.
who knows? But
And you're lucky that you had student interns that could crawl through ceilings and run the wiring. We have a very small access hole into our attic in our office, so it's always the smallest employee gets to crawl up in there. And a few years ago, we blew in insulation, and not just the pink roll down stuff. We blew fiber insulation in, and
now you
so
don't really want to go up there.
yeah, we don't want to go up there anymore.
Yeah, I got that. All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is Jim from Irondequoit, New York. Nope, no Jim.
Lost him.
We lost Jim. Let me take this opportunity to remind you that we did not make our goal this year in terms of fundraising, and so we are in an emergency extra pledge drive. So if you have the wherewithal, please head on over to jazz901.org. Hit the big red donate now button and give very generously so we can make our goal for the year. Back to the phones. Jim from Irondequoit, what's up?
Well, I have a HP printer, NV, that worked perfectly until a couple of days ago, and now it's offline. And I've tried everything I can think of, unplugging it, doing this and doing that, and I cannot get it back to work.
Is there an error message?
No,
Just offline?
It just doesn't work.
Have you tried deleting the print queue from Windows and adding it back again?
Yep.
Are you USB, Ether, or Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi.
So on the front panel of the printer, well, depending on the printer, is there a Wi-Fi button to show if it's connected to the Wi-Fi or not?
Yes, it is, but it's not on.
So the first problem is connecting the printer back to the Wi-Fi.
Apparently.
If you're lucky enough and the printer has a front panel where you can go into menus and run the setup wizard, you can do that. Some of the printers you need to plug in to the computer with a USB cord and run their wireless setup wizard on your computer, so it tells the printer to rejoin the Wi-Fi.
You may be able to connect through your phone because there's
An app. Some of the newest printers now use an app on your phone, which is annoying.
What about just doing a system shutdown and restart
he did that.
on everything? I
Yeah.
mean, the router, the printers, the computers.
Yeah, I've turned off everything, and I turned it back on. And one of the things about when you go to the control panel, and you usually find the icon for the printer, and it's not even the icon for the printer is not even there.
Well, yeah, after you delete it and can't add it back again, it will be gone. So the printer's not on the computer because the printer's not on the Wi-Fi. So you have to get the printer on the Wi-Fi first.
And you do that from the printer.
Right. I would if you can move the printer close enough to your computer to try a USB cable to see if that works. It's possible the Wi-Fi just failed in the printer.
Okay, that's because my printer's upstairs, but maybe I can try that.
Yeah. The first thing to try is connecting it directly.
What
and
model?
see if that helps.
What model did you say it was? And it was you said NV.
It's an HP NV 6000 series.
Let's see
See
how big the screen is on it.
Work?
Yeah, that has no screen on it, so you have to do it over USB on your computer.
Yeah. Listen, stay on the line. Do you have more you want to talk about?
Yeah. As a matter of fact.
All right. In that case, stay on the line. We got to take a quick break. Back in just a couple of minutes with Dave Enright, Steve Ray, me, Nick Francesco, Jim from Irondequoit, and you. It is 29 minutes after the hour. You're listening to the longest-running computer show in the known universe, Sound Bytes, right here on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
It's America's longest-running computer show. Back to more Sound Bites with Nick, Dave, and Steve. Next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Carton. President Biden has arrived in Los Angeles for a major campaign fundraiser. Force One touched down this morning after an overnight flight from the G7 summit in Italy. Biden will take part in a star-studded fundraiser later today that will feature former President Barack Obama and actors George Clooney and Julia Roberts, among others. The California Republican Party criticized the fundraiser as a Hollywood-style event that does little for struggling Americans. The case involving former President Trump's claims of presidential immunity remains on hold for now. The Supreme Court did not issue a ruling on the case Friday, but may do so on June 20th when its next opinions are released. Trump argues he's immune from prosecution because his actions fell under official conduct that should be protected. And very popular at the box office, the animated film Inside Out 2 made $60 million on Friday. Lisa Carton, NBC News Radio.
Ticks really tick me off. This is Sandra Tsinglo with the Lowdown on Science. While universally hated for their blood-sucking and disease spreading, ticks aren't loners. They carry bacteria critical for their growth, reproduction, and disease transmission. What if we could break up this dynamic duo? Enter Alejandro Cabezas Cruz from the National Institute of Agricultural Research in France and team. Researchers immunized a group of mice using vaccines targeted against a specific bacteria. This lowered the gut levels of the bacteria in the ticks thriving on these mice. This significantly impacted the ticks' ability to pass diseases onto their hosts. In the future, these vaccines could break these disease-spreading habits. If only our bad habits could be broken so easily. Ready or not, ticks, here we come. Hiking off-trail, in our shorts, doused in sugar water. Come and get it. Just need to release my army of vaccinated mice first.
The Lowdown on Science is produced by LDOS Media Lab in partnership with the University of California Irvine Science Communication and LAist, and made possible with the generous support of the Fuse Family Foundation. On the web at LOHDOWNonscience.org.
Hi there, this is Matt Taylor, your host from one of America's longest-running radio shows, Jack Ellsworth's Memories in Melody, where we play all the greatest songs by the greatest artists. I'm inviting you to join us every Saturday morning from 6 to 8 right here on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
The Gray Central School District is hosting a nursing hiring event on Wednesday, June 26th from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Transportation and Student Services Building located at 1790 Latta Road. Stop in for open interviews and an opportunity to join the Gray Central team. Remember, school nurses enjoy a predictable schedule with no nights, weekends, summers, or school breaks, and annual wage increases, access to medical and dental benefits, paid time off, retirement benefits, and so much more. For more information, visit greasecsd.org.
As a truck driver, I've learned how important road safety is. I know that large trucks need more time and room to stop. That's why I always hang back and follow other vehicles at a safe distance. Everyone can help keep our roads safe. Next time you're driving, try to remember to always give trucks extra space when you merge in front of them. Let's all plan to share the road safely. Learn how at www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Are you thinking of adding a pet to your family? Greece Residents Assisting Stray Pets, or GRASP, is committed to reducing the number of homeless pets by placing dogs and cats into compatible, loving, permanent homes. For more information on how you can give a homeless pet a second chance through adoption, visit graspinc.org. GRASP, striving for the day when every dog and cat will live in a loving, safe, and healthy home.
And now, your Jazz 90.1 weather.
Quite comfortable for your Saturday across Rochester, Western New York, and the Finger Lakes with an ample amount of sunshine. The breeze cool coming in out of the north. The high temperature in the upper 60s to near 70 degrees. Coming up for tonight, we'll see just a few clouds. The overnight low temperature near 50, very comfortable for sleeping. For tomorrow, plan on an ample amount of sunshine. It'll start to warm up. A little bit of a cooling lake breeze. We'll set up shop in the afternoon. The high temperature near 80, mostly sunny hot on Monday. The high near 90. I'm meteorologist Josh Nichols for Jazz 90.1.
And currently right now we've got fair skies, 68 degrees out at the airport and 70 here at member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Hi, this is Otto Bruno. Join me tomorrow from 12 to 2 on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And at 35 minutes after the hour, we have Jim from Irondequoit on the line. What's up, Jim? What's your next thing?
I just wanted to mention something when you were talking about AI. You know, these so-called deep fakes and the fact that you can take text to videos and you can imitate voices. So as far as being fooled, I mean, this AI is just is going to be incredible as far as how it's complicated.
It's going to get worse. That's why how a lot of the scams are now tricking more people.
Right.
Is it used to be it was bad English, bad grammar. Now the AIs are cleaning all that up.
Right. You're right, Jim. It's going to get worse.
I'm currently working on a lecture on AI, and I'm telling you, the fact that some of these things are so indistinguishable from the real thing, it's going to be really scary.
Yep.
That's all I had to say.
No, that's I get it, Jim. That's we're entering a whole new era, and it's a tough one. Thanks for calling.
Okay, thank you much. Bye.
Bye. Yeah. We're seeing, faculty in particular are having a real tough time right now.
But your name?
Because so much is
name?
doable through AI. You can have AI write you a paper.
Where are you calling from,
if
Roger?
you like. Your mic's on.
Okay, hold on.
Your mic's on, Dave. Okay.
It's all right.
You have AI writing papers that are so good, you can't tell them.
Yeah.
And then again, you have AIs that right in the middle, as we say, hallucinate.
Well, you remember the story we had a couple of weeks ago about putting glue on your pizza so the cheese won't slide off? There was one of the news magazines did a deep dive into that, and they found the original source on Reddit.
Yeah.
11 years ago. They said specifically 1/8 of a cup of non-toxic white glue. Which is what the AI said, so that's where it came from.
Yep.
But it was in a satire group.
Well,
on
and
Reddit.
that's the problem.
Regular people have a hard enough time telling if something is true or fake on the internet. How's the AI going to know?
It's not going to know.
They're being programmed by regular people.
First, don't use Reddit, the subreddit satire.
Yeah.
First. Second, don't use the Onion as a source.
Yeah.
Duh. All right, back to
I almost got caught by the Interloop blog.
Oh, yeah.
That can't be right. Oh, okay. I see that little tiny satire at the top.
Yep. And don't use the Interloop blog, which is great, by the way. I don't know who writes it, but kudos to them. Our next caller is Roger from Webster, New York. What's up, Roger?
Trying to follow your backup advice.
Yes.
I was using Google One and Samsung Cloud, which has disappeared, been replaced by OneDrive. I've resisted signing up for that. I went to the T-Mobile. It's a 5-year-old Android phone. I went to T-Mobile. They told me, never mind, Google Drive was enough. I didn't need to follow anything else. Who do I believe, you or them? I know your answer.
Well, yeah, Google Drive is the place you store your files.
Yep.
Google One is how much storage space you get for those files.
Right.
And Google gives you 15 gigs for free, and if you want more than that, you have to pay for more.
Right. And Google Drive and Samsung Backup are two separate backup systems on the internet, which is great. And yes, Microsoft is going to push OneDrive super hard because they want all your data too.
Well, I understand they only give you 5 gigs and they start charging, and that's not satisfactory.
Yep.
Right. I agree with you. Stick with Google Drive. Stick with Samsung Backup.
Samsung Backup has been replaced. It doesn't work anymore. It's been replaced by, I changed Windows here.
Yeah. So, and one part of the confusion is it's Google One is one service. Microsoft OneDrive is a different service.
Yes.
Google Drive is a different service yet.
All right. I used to use Google Drive, but for some reason I convinced myself to go to Google One.
Well, Google One is the storage plans you get for Google Drive to store files.
Right. When you need more than 15 gig, you go to Google One.
Okay, because I've got 9. Well, and is that sufficient? I mean, you constantly preach 2, if not 20, backup sites.
Right. Well, okay. So here's the thing: the amount of backup you need depends entirely on the number of files you have, and what it is you want to back up. So, if you are backing up pictures, then you want something like Google Photos or Amazon Photos. If you're a Prime member, and Amazon Photos, if you're a Prime member, you get unlimited photo backup, so you don't have to worry about it anymore. If you're going to back those up anyplace else, then you have to have the amount of storage you need.
Yeah, Google is 15 gigs free, or 10 gigs is $2 a month, and it goes up from there.
Right.
And the best thing you can do...
100 gigs.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah. Apple is 50 gigs for $1 a month. So all the companies are different on their sizes, too.
And the thing of it is, though, is you have to click, usually on that drive, right-click on it, check properties to see how much of the space you're actually using to know whether you need more.
That I didn't know. Right-click on, because I'm using Google One.
Yeah, you right-click on it, and then you can go to the properties, and it'll tell you usually on the drive, if it's, say, 15 gig, how much of the 15 gig you're using, whether you need to up the storage or not.
Well, and that depends if you're syncing to the Google Drive folder on your computer.
Yeah,
I believe I am.
Yeah, then if you do a properties on that folder, it will tell you how big it is. Google also has the option to not store files on your computer until you actually need to open them, but they're always stored on the Google Cloud.
Well,
and some people.
I'm trying to save what's on the phone, the operating system, and the photos that I haven't yet moved to my thumb drive. And that's going to be an activity soon because I'll go to the library and do that.
Yeah. So on the phone, you would use the Google Photos app or the Amazon Photos app. And you're saying the Samsung app has been discontinued?
Yes. Well, it keeps coming up update, and the update comes up with I forgot the name.
There it is. So Samsung is partnering with Microsoft.
Yes.
So Samsung is putting your photos on Microsoft OneDrive. So the Samsung backup app will go to Microsoft OneDrive. The Google Photos app will go to Google Drive. The Amazon Photos app will go to Amazon Drive.
Right.
Oh, my God.
So a lot of people run all three. I do, Nick
and
does.
there's no reason not to.
And there's no reason not to if you're using, especially with Amazon Photos, gives you free photo storage.
Yeah, it's free storage.
So if heaven forbid Google dies tomorrow, you've got Amazon and Microsoft. So the more
your files are probably not gone from the internet, even if they're hidden on your machine. You should be able to log into your Google Drive on your browser, and your files should still be there.
All right, because I have a hard time finding what's really there. It just says you want to back up or restore it. I hit back up and...
Yeah, again, that's on the app itself. What I'm saying is you go to your browser.
Yep.
You go to drive.google.com, and you sign in with your Gmail address and your password, and you should see your files.
Okay.
Well, you may see a backup file, not human readable files.
Well, you'll see.
It depends
It'll be something there.
Yeah, there'll be something there. Yeah.
Okay. Oh boy.
Yeah.
So you're saying I should go ahead and sign up for OneDrive with Microsoft. I was kind of resisting that.
No, you don't
we're
need
not
to.
saying that.
No.
Well, that's if you want to continue to use Samsung backup. If you stick with Google Photos, you don't need to go to Microsoft. If you stick with Amazon Photos, you don't need to go to Microsoft.
And if you stick with Google Drive, you don't need to go to Microsoft.
All right, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back and re-engage with Google Drive because I've been using Google One as a backup.
Well, they're the same thing. I mean, the space is the same whether you're using Google One or Google Drive.
Okay.
It's the same thing. So you can keep using that. You can sign into Google One or Google Drive, and you should see your files there.
Okay. Is that why I don't make my living as an admin?
That could be part of it, yes. Also, it's a pain in the patoot, I'll tell you that right now.
Well, yes. If it's that's a mild description that I would use, but
it's the description we use on the air, Roger.
Yeah, that's the only one the FCC will allow us to use and not get in trouble.
All right, thanks, Roger. Good luck.
All right, appreciate it, fellas. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yep, bye-bye. And that reminds me, Roger reminds us that it is backup. You should be backing up. You should be backing up daily. And you could automate that so that you don't even have to think about it. But you do have to think of how to set it up. And as we've been saying, particularly your photos, which is, as we've said many times, you can't get those back. Particularly if the person is no longer with us who was in those photos, you can't get them back. You can't recreate them. So what you need to do is back them up. And the best thing to do is to have multiple backups. So have a backup that's off your computer on, say, a drive on your network or a thumb drive, but that means probably a human has to do those backups, and that's iffy. But also, if you're using Google Drive, if you're using a Google phone, then you have Google Photos available to you. If you're using an Apple phone, you have Apple storage available to you.
Right. And you also have Google Photos available on Apple, too.
Google available on Apple. And in either case, if you are an Amazon Prime user, that is to say you're paying for Amazon Prime, you also, one of the perks you get is unlimited free photo storage. You put the Amazon Photo app on your phone, and every single picture you take will be saved to Amazon Photos. And by the way, as we just said, all of them work simultaneously. So you can have the Google Photos app, the Amazon Photos app, the iCloud Photos app, the Microsoft Photos app, the Samsung Photos app, all on your machine at the same time, all backing up every one of your pictures to 4 different places.
Yeah, because I wouldn't just rely on just, say, a flash drive. You sit there and say, well, I got them all right here. Yeah, that's not good enough. You've got to have at least one cloud backup. Off-site, in addition to whether it's backing up to a DVD or to a zip drive or even to a hard drive.
Yep.
Those are all items that can fail.
Fire, flood.
And
particularly zip drives, which they don't even make anymore.
Yeah, but the hard drives and even the flash drives and all that, they can fail.
Alternate media doesn't really exist anymore.
It really does.
Yeah. And that's the whole problem, which we cannot preach enough, folks. Steve and I have both experienced it when people come in and ask us or beg us to get their photos back because the machine crashed and they didn't get around to backing them up. Once the photos are gone, they're gone. I mean, documents, you've heard me say this before. You can recreate those. They might not be word for word, but pretty dang close.
And you might have a printout somewhere of them.
Yeah,
Right.
But that pictures of your kid when they were born and they're now, graduating from high school, you're not getting those back. If they're gone, they're gone.
We've got a picture of 4 generations of my wife's family. Her grandmother, her mother, her, and our daughter. We cannot recreate that picture. That is never going to be able to be
going
happening.
back on that.
So I've got that backed up in a lot of places, and all of those photos like it. And you can't do it after. Once they're gone, they're gone. And recovering them may be possible, but it will cost you thousands of dollars. Thousands.
And that can't even be guaranteed.
And it can't be guaranteed. And it's thousands of dollars. Isn't it a lot cheaper to use all the free systems that are out there? And if you're paying for Amazon Prime anyway, use that.
And
even
taking the
$100
time.
for a hard drive. We have people who buy 2 hard drives, and one they take to work, and one they have at home. So there's your offsite backup.
Right.
But it's also the other key factor, major key factor, is taking the time to do it.
So if you use an automatic program, then it backs itself up automatically. You don't have to remember to do it yourself.
Mhm.
And so, Google Photos, iCloud Photos, Microsoft Photos, they all do that automatically. If to back up documents and things, you could use Microsoft file history. We wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
Right. And look, there are a major number of programs
Yeah.
that you can run, and I list a bunch of them on my backup page.
A lot of hard drives come with a backup program too.
A lot of them come with a backup program, and Steve's gonna. It's somewhere in our list already.
Yeah,
it's
I'll find it.
asknick.com/backup.php.
I know Seagate used to always include one on
Yeah,
theirs.
a lot of companies do. And there, we advocate the 3-2-1 backup plan. 3 separate backups in 2 separate places, at least one of which is off-site. And frankly, 4 or 5 or 6 different things. I've got at least 3 off-site backups of my stuff at any time, and it's not. I still think it's not enough.
The other thing, though, again, this is talking about getting complacent, is every so often, maybe even if it's just once a year, folks, take the time to grab a document that you backed up to, say, your cloud storage. Get that file and restore it back to your machine. Put it on the desktop or into another folder and open it up and make sure that it's doing its job correctly. That if you're going into your restore part routine, that it's going to do it correctly. Because if you're doing all these backups and you're relying on that, and you don't once a year test it out to make sure that you can get it back, that ain't doing you very good.
We had a customer this week brought their computer in, and they're the one. They're the ones that had the scam text message, so they brought their computer in to be cleaned and brought their backup drive in. Make sure the backup's working. Hadn't backed up in 3 years.
3 years, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Geez.
You have to pay attention to these things. One of the things I did just this week is I got a hard drive for one of my Raspberry Pis, and the first thing I did with it, once I had it set up, was restore all of my backups from one of my online backups to that drive and checked a bunch of stuff. It was all there.
Yep.
So I feel a little more comfortable than I do on most days.
Yeah, because see, for me, I just put everything up on Google Docs. When I'm doing a spreadsheet, it's just come automatically now that I don't save anything down on my machine. That way, when that one did die on me, okay, no big deal. I just had to get a new machine in, put in my Google Gmail account, bam, all the stuff was there, my contacts and messages and everything else, and I could go over to my cloud storage. My documents were all still there. I just had to reinstall some programs. No big deal.
One of the things that I do, because I am more paranoid than you, is every once in a while I go to takeout.google.com and download everything I've got in Google Drive. Everything.
Well, you've gotten years of writing articles and everything else,
everything
and
is
your
up there.
books.
Yep, everything is up there.
Yeah, no, for me, it's just writing
Even
myself
so,
documents.
it's not a bad idea to go to takeout.google.com, I believe is where it is. And every once in a while, just download everything. It comes as a bunch of zip files. You tell it, I want all of these. You can get everything, or you can just get all your documents or all your spreadsheets. And you click give it to me, and then they'll send you a text message or an email rather when your download is ready, and then you can download that stuff. And again, that's one of the things I do to that. I did to that extra drive I put on a Raspberry Pi. I downloaded all that stuff and stuck it in an archive. So I've got a brand new 2 terabyte drive with all of everything zipped up, so it doesn't fill the drive. It's still an awful lot of data, but I've got Greenlight, so it came down pretty quick.
I just went to Google Takeout. There are 54 Google services I'm using.
Yeah.
And you want the data from all of them. So, okay, but 50, I didn't know I was using 54 Google services.
Yeah, that's the other thing that opens your eyes, what you're using. But again, if all you're interested in, you can separately download the spreadsheets and the documents and stuff like that. So you can say, okay, these I put here, these I put there.
Google Discover. What in the world is that?
But that's, just something that folks have to take the time and do because, again,
when you lose it, it's gone.
Yeah.
When you lose it, it's gone. And no amount of whining will bring it back.
Nope.
I'm sorry, but, when you lose your data and you bring that drive into somebody and they say, can't bring it back,
I always
that's
felt
definitive.
bad for the folks, like I say,
feel
for
bad,
the
but
photos.
yeah.
The photos that used to rip me up because, like I say, documents. Okay, yeah, it's going to take you a little time to recreate and all that. But like you say, the generations.
Yes.
Sit there. You can't all of a sudden get that person back. Once they're gone, they're gone.
They're
folks.
gone. You can't call them up to come in and take another picture.
Yeah.
And
Let's
what
do a redo.
What made me crazy is when students would come to me and say, my thesis is on here, can you get it back? And they hand me a thumb drive. This is your only copy? You couldn't spend $5 to buy another thumb drive to back it up on, but I can spend 2 weeks of my life trying to get it back for you?
Well, that's why
Save
I
it on your
said
school
so.
storage drive. Yeah.
And we give you free storage at school.
That's the other thing. That's why I'm saying you don't want to rely on those flash drives because it doesn't take much, folks. If you ever saw a flash drive, you took it apart, that part that you're plugging in, there's literally I think there's 5 connectors that are soldered onto this circuit board. And if you're just quick shoving it in there and you go to pull it out and you twist it just the slightest bit on an angle, that can break a solder joint and make that drive.
You stick it in your pocket.
Yeah,
and
it's
you're done.
unusable.
There's every connector has an insertion count life. You might be able to insert it 100 times. It might be 1,000 times, but eventually it's not going to work anymore.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. We always said that it takes one data failure to make you into a backup paranoid person and always having backups. That's not always true anymore. We have people come in that, this is the second or third time they've lost their files. We sell them a backup drive. Oh, I didn't get around to it.
Yeah.
One poor lady, we were so sorry for her. She bought the backup drive. She sat down to read the instructions, and her computer failed.
Oh.
So if you hadn't taken, 10 minutes. If you hadn't taken that 10 minutes to read the instructions, just plug the drive in. And on a Mac, you plug the drive in, and Time Machine says, hey, do you want to use this drive? And you say, yes.
You're done.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it'll say, do you want to reformat the drive?
Right,
Because most drives come formatted for Windows.
Right.
But that scares people. Do you want to reformat the drive? No. Yes, you do want to reformat the external drive for your Mac for backup, because most drives come formatted for Windows.
Right.
But that's the other thing. Folks would come in and say, well, how long is that hard drive supposed to last? And I just turn to them all the time and say, how long does a light bulb last?
Yeah.
Right.
It's just until you turn it on and all of a sudden it goes super bright and then pop and it goes off. It doesn't give you any warning.
Yeah. Companies like Google and Backblaze that go through literally tens of thousands of drives a year have published studies on what's the best drive today, because tomorrow it will be different. So
right.
It almost doesn't matter the quality of the drive, it's going to fail. But in general, hard drives and solid-state drives, that's what surprised people even more. There's no moving parts, but solid-state drives still wear out just differently. About a 20% per year failure rate.
Right.
So after 5 years, there's a 100% chance your drive will die soon.
But here's the problem. It's the mean time between failures,
Right.
5 years. Well, you need to know what that means. It means some drives last 10 years, some drives die out of the box.
Yep.
You're somewhere on that line. Where are you on that line? Nobody knows.
So
you need a backup. You need a backup right now.
And every few years, probably less than 5, replace your backup drives.
Yes.
So that you get a fresh storage and another fresh 5 years.
At the very least, add another one.
Yeah.
So if one fails, you don't care.
Yep.
All right. That music tells us that the first hour of this show is now history. And we don't learn from history, so we're going to do it all over again. There's a whole nother hour of the longest running computer show in the known universe coming your way. A whole nother hour of Dave Enright, a whole nother hour of Steve Ray, a whole nother hour of Nick Francesco, and a whole nother hour of you. But only if you give us a call, 585-966-JAZZ, It's 966-5299, toll free 800-790-0415. And please remember, we are in the middle of an emergency pledge drive. Please head on over to jazz901.org, click the Donate Now button, and give. We've only got a couple of weeks to make our goal so that, we end up the year. We'll be right back.
Computer talk you can understand. More Sound Bites is next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
WGMC Greece Rochester, a public service of the Greece Central School District and official media partner of this year's CGI Rochester International Jazz Festival, Jazz 90.1.
On Twitter at 901jazz.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Carton. President Biden has arrived in Los Angeles for a major campaign fundraiser. Air Force One touched down this morning after an overnight flight from the G7 summit in Italy. Biden will take part in a star-studded fundraiser later today that will feature former President Barack Obama and actors George Clooney and Julia Roberts, among others. The California Republican Party criticized the fundraiser as a Hollywood-style event that does little for struggling Americans. The case involving former President Trump's claims of presidential immunity remains on hold for now. The Supreme Court did not issue a ruling on the case Friday, but may do so on June 20th when its next opinions are released. Trump argues he's immune from prosecution because his actions fell under official conduct that should be protected. And very popular at the box office, the animated film Inside Out 2 made $60 million on Friday. Lisa Carton, NBC News Radio.
Did you know you can listen to many Jazz 90.1 programs on demand in our online audio vault? They're like Jazz 90.1 podcasts, where you can listen on your computer or on your phone with our Jazz 90.1 Android or iPhone app. Hear the latest editions of Sound Bites, the Blues Spectrum, Big Road Blues, the Soul Jazz Spectrum, Soulstainable Living, Jazz 90.1 live in-studio concert recordings, and other shows too. To listen on your computer, go to jazz901.org, then to the Listen tab, and pull down to Audio Vault. Once there, scroll down to see all the shows and simply hit the play button on the show of your choice. On our Jazz 90.1 phone app, click the name of the program to open and play the file. The Jazz 90.1 Audio Vault. Just one more way Jazz 90.1 takes jazz further for you.
If you want to support Jazz 90.1 a lot, but your budget says only a little will work, there is a way. It's called the Jazz 90.1 Jazz-O-Matic membership. You can support Jazz 90.1 with a monthly gift of $10 or more, while enjoying the many great thank you gifts that we offer. Jazz 90.1 will deduct that amount automatically every month, and should your circumstances change, you can cancel at any time. Support Jazz 90.1 the way you want to, without bruising your budget, Jazz-O-Matically. For more information on becoming Jazz-O-Matic, call 966-5299 or pledge online at jazz901.org.
Here's another I Love New York travel tip.
New York State's amazing history spans centuries and hundreds of beautiful miles, offering a wealth of memorable travel experiences. Discover the state's fascinating past June 14th through the 16th during Path Through History Weekend. Museums, historic sites, parks, and community groups across New York will be holding in-person and virtual special tours, events, reenactments, and community celebrations. Experience life in the past at living history museums. Explore forts and military landmarks, and visit the homes of presidents, great writers and artists, and activists like Harriet Tubman, who fought for women's suffrage and the abolition of slavery, and learn how the events of the past reverberate today. For more information on Path Through History Weekend, visit the I Love New York website at iloveny.com. Discovering the people and places that shaped American history. It's easy to love New York.
June is Men's Health Month. Abdominal aortic aneurysm, or AAA, is a relatively common condition that can lead to sudden death among older male smokers. Smoking, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and a family history of AAA can increase your risk for the condition. Men between the ages of 65 and 75 who have smoked should undergo a one-time ultrasound screening test. AAA is highly treatable when detected early. For more information, visit radiologyinfo.org.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school.
These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Maybe you're not sure how you'll make rent, or you lost your job. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light. Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need.
211, how can I help you?
Call or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected. Get help. A message from United Way and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to America's longest-running computer show, Soundbites, on member-supported Jazz 90.1. Get online now. Call 966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll-free 800-790-0415. Or submit your question by email at soundbites.org. Once again, here's Nick Francesco, Dave Enright, and Steve Ray on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And it's 6 minutes after the hour. We are hurtling headlong into the second hour of the longest-running computer show in the known universe, Soundbites, right here on member-supported Jazz 90.1. And Sharon is on the line from Churchville, New York. What's up, Sharon?
Hi there.
Hi.
About a computer connection issue. We recently bought, in December, a new laptop, an HP Envy, and we had it connected by Wi-Fi in our front office, and we started having connectivity problems with the Wi-Fi. And so we went away for a couple weeks in May and came back, and now we had really bad connectivity problems. So we went, our provider is Spectrum. Prior to that, we bought a extender, a Wi-Fi extender, which we thought helped. And that was before we went away. Then we went away, we came back, and it wasn't working anymore. So we went to Spectrum, and we got a new router. And we went through the whole process with them and set it up, and it would connect in our kitchen, but it still would not stay connected in our office.
Okay.
But the TV worked in the office, which is Wi-Fi. So we called Spectrum, and they came out. And they said, we don't have that big of a house. He said, this router should work, and you should get what you need in this location, and you don't need an extender. So, but he couldn't get it connect. So he finally got it to connect, and they left. And the next day, of course, it wouldn't connect. It wouldn't stay connected. So we took the PC back to Best Buy, and they did a refresh, and we bought it home, and it still won't connect. So Spectrum is saying it's the PC, the laptop, and Best Buy is saying it's our provider.
Of course,
and we're at our wit's end.
Well, one thing you can do to prove them wrong is go to, say, your local library.
Or a coffee shop or bookstore, anywhere
and
they have free
connect
Wi-Fi.
to their wireless. Because you can go to, like Steve said, most coffee shops or, library and all that, and they offer free Wi-Fi if you, say, buy a cup of coffee and sit there and test it out for, free.
Yeah, it works in our kitchen.
Right.
It
So
just won't work in our office.
All right.
What
so
is between...
It's connected, but it won't stay connected.
Yeah, what's between your kitchen and your office?
Another bedroom and a bathroom.
Okay, that can be part of the problem. Kitchens are full of metal. Bathrooms are full of metal pipes, and that can
between.
that can block the radio signal. So sometimes it's not the size of the house; it's the construction of the house where you might need a second router.
what you might want to do is on your phone, whether you have an Apple phone or an Android phone, you can download a program called Wi-Fi Analyzer. And what that will do is show you the strength of the signal as you walk around the house. and you will be shocked to see you go into one room and it drops to nothing, and you go in another room and it's 100%. And
okay, but let me ask you this. We have a tablet. The tablet works in that room.
Okay.
Our phone works in there, and the TV works in there.
Okay, are they in exactly the same spot as the laptop?
Just about.
No, just about isn't good enough, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
They need to be in exactly the same spot. So what you want to do is download that app, the Wi-Fi Analyzer, and then hold it right where the laptop is.
And sometimes you can do it without the additional app. Just look at the signal strength on your device.
Right, it's a laptop. You can move it around.
Yeah, because sometimes it's just a matter of moving it a couple feet, make a big difference.
And one of the problems with a Wi-Fi extender is that it's best to have the same brand extender as you do Wi-Fi router. Mixing brands often doesn't work well.
Right.
Now I know Time Warner has their own mesh system. So mesh is the new way of having multiple routers together to cover more area. They have their own mesh system that they charge a monthly service fee for. You can buy your own wireless mesh routers and then not have to pay the monthly fee to them. The downside of that is now Time Warner can blame the router on your connection problems. So if you're using Time Warner's modem and Time Warner's Wi-Fi router, then you've got one place to complain about internet signals.
Right.
Right. That's what we're doing now.
Yeah, I guess our frustration. This is Sharon's husband. I guess our frustration is that this PC that we bought in December worked only until about 3 weeks ago, and we started to get all types of issues with our printer, not Wi-Fi not working right where it worked fine before, and then we found out about Spectrum switching to a dual band, 2G, 5G band, and it seems like it's a coincidence, but it seems like since that has happened, we can't use that PC in there anymore. Where we could always use our previous PC.
Right. One of the problems is 2.4 gigahertz is a little slower, but extends farther.
And goes through walls better.
And goes through walls better. 5 gigahertz is faster, but it doesn't extend as far and it doesn't go through walls as well.
It's flakier.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's theoretically less crowded.
Theoretically. But one of the other things you can do, and this is why I suggest this Wi-Fi analyzer, you can see what other networks are on your same there are a bunch of channels you can put your Wi-Fi on.
And everyone starts on channel 6.
Everybody starts on channel 6. So I'll tell you what happened in my house. I set up my Wi-Fi. I had terrible Wi-Fi. Now I know what I'm doing, so I knew the Wi-Fi was working, but it was terrible. So I put this Wi-Fi analyzer. It seems every house around me was at channel 6. But in my case, one of the other channels, I'm not going to say which one of the other channels was completely empty. So I told my router, use that channel. I then had to restart all my devices, but they all found my Wi-Fi, hooked up. I've never had a problem since.
Yep.
So it may not be that your system is the problem. It may be that your next door neighbor got a new, more powerful router and it's interfering with your connection on that side of your house.
Or he moved his microwave oven to that wall.
Microwave
ovens are 2.4 gigahertz.
Or he put a
ham tower.
Or a ham tower. Or he put a
ionizer.
Air conditioner outside.
Air conditioner. Yep.
That makes sense to me, but then the TV that's right there that works without any issues.
But that may still be on 2.4 gigahertz.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's probably 2.4, not 5.
Anyway, the thing to do is to download this Wi-Fi analyzer and check to see how many networks you see and where they're all clustered.
Do you have Android or iOS?
Do we what?
Do you have Android phones or iPhones?
Android.
Okay.
Android.
I put the Wi-Fi analyzer for Android on there now, and I'm going to get the one for iOS shortly.
And also, like Nick was saying, though, go ahead and change it from 5G down to 2.4.
Well, if you can get into the wireless config, you may not be able to because it's not your router; it's Spectrum's.
Right. I don't think we can do that.
You should be able to call them and ask them. Maybe they'll do it.
And at that point, what you might need to do, again, if everybody around you has Spectrum, everybody's using the same channel and everybody's using the same 2.4 or 5 gigahertz connection.
Because if it is 5, though, 5 is very fussy in that it's a point-to-point. And you just going from one room to the other, and that's set up for 5, the angle of that signal for a 5G is very critical. You could be just one room over, and all of a sudden you get really crappy service.
And if you can't get any satisfaction from the folks at Spectrum, you may need to add your own Wi-Fi router.
Extender.
A router, an actual router, and use that one instead of the one that Spectrum gives you. And if you can't get any, if everybody's using the same connection and it happens to be, let's say, your next door neighbor on that side of your house just moved their router over to that wall, they may be interfering with you so deeply you can't get a good connection. And again, it can be inches away and be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And in the one spot you happen to have your laptop is where it's a problem. Look, I've seen in one of the places I used to work, if we put a computer, in those days it was a computer, against one wall, we could not get a connection under any circumstances. We moved it 4 feet to the right, and it hooked up beautifully.
We had that happen once at a customer, and they, I don't know how they got their plans out, I guess, found out that the building's main power trunk went down that side of the wall.
Yes, and that was the problem in this one as well.
Well, in my house, I can be in my, what we call the computer room, and I can walk 4 feet into the kitchen, and all of a sudden my cell service signal all of a sudden bumps right on up, and it is fine. Whereas if I'm sitting in that computer room, it stinks because of the chicken wire and everything else interfering.
Right. So that's why I say get this Wi-Fi analyzer, walk around your house, and see where the hot spots and the cold spots are.
Okay, and then you mentioned the router and the channel. If we have Spectrum's router, are we allowed to change that channel or no?
Probably not. You may have to call them directly and ask them. And you've got a case. If you run the Wi-Fi analyzer and you see that there's 15 other signals on channel 6, you can call Spectrum and say, "Look, here's what I found. I need to be on channel 8 or 12 or
whatever one's clean."
Look at the back of the Spectrum Wi-Fi router, and if there's a line that says admin name and password, then you can log into it.
Yeah, right.
Okay, well, we'll give that a try, and so you don't think it's a computer?
I do not. In particular, well, again, one of the things you need to try is to move the computer to another room or to take it to a coffee shop and see if you have connectivity problems there. That will tell you whether or not the problem is the laptop or the place it is in your home.
Okay. All right. Okay, well, that helps a lot. Thank you very much. We'll give it a try, and hopefully I don't have to call you back.
Yeah, right.
Call us back and let us know. Please, call us back and let us know how you made out.
In the meantime, you and your husband go out to a coffee shop, have a nice lunch together, and play on the computer.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, that's the thing is you've got to do your troubleshooting before you can go to someone like Spectrum and say, "Here's what we found."
And especially since they blame somebody else.
Since they'll blame anybody. That's the way it is. If you buy any two separate devices, you're going to have people saying, "Well, it's the other device."
Now you just made me hungry. I want to go to Brugger's for lox and bagels.
Sure you do. Who doesn't? On a daily basis.
Yeah, lox and a bagel. Oh.
Yeah.
With capers on it?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. But so
your fault.
Everybody should probably download that Wi-Fi analyzer for their phone. Take a walk around their house. One of the things I used to do for my students is make them do a heat map of our Wi-Fi in our building. A, to give them some experience, and B, to show them, to open their eyes to, how it
signals travel through buildings and everything else from room to room.
Right. And how they don't sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah, we would do that, and you should do it in your own home.
Well, you and I have the same issue. We got old. My house is built in 1928, and it's got the old lath and plaster. Folks, if you're unfamiliar, especially the newer ones, you just use drywall. Lath and plaster is literally boards with chicken wire on it, and then they covered it up with mud to form the wall.
Right.
And they had to smooth it out that way. They just didn't put up drywall back in those days.
And that's also called a Faraday cage.
That's exactly right. It blocks all the radio signal. I've said this many times before. I could not, my house, I could get signals in a lot of places, could not get it in the library. Could not get it in the library, which of course is where my wife wanted her desk.
Of course.
Well, you're supposed to sit and read in the library.
Well, yes, exactly.
Real books.
Yeah, and we do.
Yeah.
You should see what our library looks like. But the fact is that what I had to do was get a mesh router. And then I could put one of the, what do they call them? It's an access point, but they have a different name for it. In a place that we could...
Primary and secondary.
Right. See the primary router.
Yeah.
And also see the library. And so I could get a signal into the library that way. At which point my wife decided she would rather be in the kitchen, which was a whole different set of problems. But
all those metal appliances in the kitchen
all
block
those
the
metal
signal.
appliances in the kitchen. But we got that figured out as well. Again, I found a place where I could put a router that could see my main router, the access point that could see my main router, and also see the kitchen. Pardon?
Just in case you have trouble.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
We had a customer that random times throughout the day, their monitor, in the old CRT monitor days, the monitor would start shaking.
Oh, yeah.
What in the world? At random, we finally figured out the next office had a microwave oven on that wall, and every time they turned the microwave oven on,
vibrated.
No, the beam shot out the back of the microwave into the guy's monitor.
Yep. We had, before we go back to the phones, I got to tell you this story. We had a guy when I was selling Apple IIs back in the day who came in and could not, none of his floppy drives back in those days would work. They would not work. We'd test them, they'd be perfectly fine. We'd send them back to him, they wouldn't work. Send them back to us, they were fine. This went on 3 or 4 times before I went to his house. Discovered what he had done was duplicated the picture that Apple had on their website, which is your Apple II, your 2 drives, and your monitor.
Yep.
Well, the
heavy CRT monitor.
Well, not only was it heavy, but it had a really, really good magnet in it.
Yep.
And it was lifting the heads from the floppy drives, and they weren't making contact
to read
with
the
the
drive.
floppy itself. They couldn't read the drive. Whereas when we tested them, we stacked them off to the side because we had a monitor up on a shelf that we just plugged in. And so, but there's just a million things,
different iteration
that can go
configurations.
Right. All right. Back to the phones. Our next caller is Mark from Greece, New York. Hiya, Mark. What's up?
Hello. How are you?
Peachy. How are you?
Recovering from a knee replacement.
Oh, you're a much braver man than I am.
Now, how long are you going to be laid up with that, Mark?
I'm getting near the end of it now. It's been 6 weeks, and I'm starting to get around pretty good. I had my left one done about a year and a half ago, so I did the right one this time around. I'll tell you, it's nice to be able to stand and not have knee pain.
Yeah, well, you're preaching to the choir here. I should do it.
Yeah. It's let's put it this way. It's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot of work, a lot of pain, and you went through it already.
No, I didn't.
Injury.
Oh, the injury, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of hard PT, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh man, was it? Man, was it? Jeez and cracker.
Yeah,
all right. So what's your story here, Mark? What are we talking about?
I'm going to make a suggestion. If people are looking for an affordable mesh router, TP-Link makes Deco routers. They're a little round. Well, some are tall. Some of them are shorter. Some of them look like white hockey pucks.
Yep.
Depends on which one you get. The bigger ones do have, on every one, they have Ethernet connections, but I ran my Ethernet with a switch.
Mm-hmm.
So that way I wasn't just running Ethernet out of wireless. So, but they work wonderful. I got 3 of them, and I get coverage through the whole house, and I've got 2,600 square feet.
Nice.
And a split level, side split, you know. So you can't change the channels, but what you do is you go in a couple times a week and you run the diagnostic, and it'll tell you if you're having a problem. You run the diagnostic, it tells you if you're getting noise on the channel, and it changes it for you.
Right. Nice. Very nice.
And I set it up once a week to reboot the whole thing at 5:30 in the morning on Sunday.
Oh, that's very nice.
It reboots the whole system.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very
And
cool.
I think I paid $119 for the whole thing.
Yeah, nice price.
You can't beat it. You can't beat them. They're really nice, and you set them up on your phone in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Not like the old days.
Yeah. I use Google's Nest.
Even better.
Router sets. The
And I
only
use-
thing I don't like is that you only can set it up on the
phone.
phone.
I use Eero, and it's the same thing. It has to be on a phone.
Yeah.
And I can't find a DHCP list.
Right.
It will show me the name of devices, but it won't show me a DHCP list, so I can say or sort by IP and what's the IP of every device.
Right.
I have to go in device by device and see what its IP. I want a DHCP. I understand it's a consumer router. Consumers don't want that, but I do.
I do too. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I always thought that they should make two apps. An
Right.
advanced app and a basic app.
Well, just advanced mode in the same app.
Or an advanced mode in that app. But sometimes people get a little bully and they go in places they shouldn't.
Yeah, that's true.
That they don't know what they're doing, you know.
I didn't know what NAT was, so I turned it off, and now my Wi-Fi doesn't work.
You turned off your antennas.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always thought that they should at least give us an advanced mode or an advanced app to be able to do some of these things. You know, it's so basic. It's basically what the cable company allows you to do.
At least it's better than the olden days when you had to go into a website and understand all the technical jargon.
Yep.
They started for a while. They started doing the setup guides, which is that's why in the beginning the best internet service in the country was Linksys.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody bought a Linksys router. Every wireless name was Linksys, and no one had any passwords, and it was great.
It was great.
Yeah, it was Linksys and admin, or it was admin and admin.
Yep.
Right. Exactly right.
Or user and admin.
Yeah.
You know, really, really great security.
Right.
But yeah, I can't. Suggest those the most.
Yep.
They're wonderful routers. They work great.
And TP-Link is good about updating.
Yep.
You don't want to get a cheap no-name router that never gets updated because there's always problems in routers.
Yeah. Exactly. Don't go on Amazon and find some cheap Chinese router.
Well, just definitely don't buy a Chinese router.
Yeah, don't trust it. One thing to be made in China, another thing to be a Chinese company.
Right.
So, but yeah.
TP-Link is
Good
Chinese.
point,
though.
Mark. Thanks.
Okay, you guys have a wonderful day.
You too.
You too.
Thanks.
And this is a perfect time for you to think about the fact that what is your router's admin password? Have you changed it? Did you set it up, or did you just take the one that came with it? Because if you took the one that came with it, every hacker on the planet knows it.
And so you don't forget it, because odds are nobody's going to break in your house, flip the router over, and look at your password.
Yeah, if someone has physical access to your house, you've got bigger problems.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. Just write it down and then tape it, the username and password, and put it on the underside of the router. And then that way, just in case you've got to change it or anything else, it's like, oh, shoot, because you won't change it that often. If you create a good password, you shouldn't have to do it that often.
Right. And you definitely want to have multiple, you want to have a strong password. A lot of characters, upper and lower case, numbers.
Because you're only going to type it once, and then you won't have to do it again.
Right, because your computer will remember it. All right, we're going to take... Oh, that's nice music. I want to take a quick break here. We're going to be back in just a couple of minutes with Dave Enright, Steve Ray, me, Nick Francesco, and you. It's 29 minutes after the hour. You're listening to the longest-running computer show in the known universe, Sound Bytes. This is a perfect opportunity to head on over to jazz901.org, hit that Donate Now button, and make a pledge. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with Sound Bytes.
Online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at soundbytes.org. More with Nick Francesco, Dave Enright, and Steve Ray next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Carton. President Biden is back in the U.S. today for a star-studded campaign fundraiser at the Peacock Theater in Los Angeles. Former President Obama is among the headliners, with celebrities including George Clooney, Julia Roberts, and Jimmy Kimmel taking part. Tickets for the event are ranging from $250,000 to $500,000. Biden just wrapped up a 2-day trip to Italy for the G7 summit. Crowds cheered as Britain's Princess Kate made her first public appearance since providing an update on her cancer treatment. Correspondent Megan Fitzgerald says today's rainy weather in London didn't dampen the spirits of onlookers.
Of people that were lining the mile to get a glimpse of her, and they just erupted with excitement, of course, at first glance.
The Princess of Wales was seen arriving by carriage to attend Saturday's Trooping the Colour Parade in London to mark King Charles's birthday. The British royal says she is making good progress in her treatment. Lisa Carton, NBC News Radio.
Brighten those moist, shady spots in the landscape with the bold texture and creamy white or pink flowers of Rodgersia. Hi, I'm Melinda Myers, horticulturist and gardening expert. The 18 to 24-inch tall, fragrant flowers resemble an astilbe and rise above the large leaves. Although the flowers are a great addition to the summer garden, many grow this shade-loving perennial for the bold texture its large leaves provide. Each leaf has 7 leaflets or segments and resembles those of a horse chestnut tree. The dark green leaves with a bronze tint combine nicely with other shade-loving perennials like hostas, astilbes, and ferns. Keep the soil moist throughout the growing season to avoid scorch and brown leaf edges. As long as the soil's kept moist, the plants will tolerate more sun. Give this plant plenty of room to reach its mature size of 3 to 4 feet tall and 4 to 5 feet wide. Check out our website for this and other gardening tips. Jazz 90.1 is supported in part by Summit Responsible Solutions, a manufacturer of organic, all-natural mosquito control products under the Mosquito Dunks brand name. Mosquito Dunks can be used in ponds, bird baths, rain barrels, or wherever water collects. Non-toxic to people, pets, fish, birds, and other wildlife, Mosquito Dunks are available at local and national garden centers everywhere. Information on how to control mosquitoes can be found at summitresponsiblesolutions.com. Jazz 90.1 is supported in part by our members and by animal repellent Plant Skid. It's organic and safe for use on fruits and vegetable gardens, as well as trees, shrubs, and flowers. Plant Skid uses odors associated with predators, encouraging animals like deer, rabbits, bulls, elk, moose, chipmunks, and squirrels to dine elsewhere. Information on how to protect plants from animal damage can be found at plantskydd.com. That's plantskid.com.
Are you thinking of adding a pet to your family? Greece Residents Assisting Stray Pets, or GRASP, is committed to reducing the number of homeless pets by placing dogs and cats into compatible, loving, permanent homes. For more information on how you can give a homeless pet a second chance through adoption, visit graspinc.org. GRASP, striving for the day when every dog and cat will live in a loving, safe, and healthy home.
Here's the latest Jazz 90.1 weather forecast.
Quite comfortable for your Saturday across Rochester, Western New York, and the Finger Lakes with an ample amount of sunshine. The breeze cool coming in out of the north. The high temperature in the upper 60s to near 70 degrees. Coming up for tonight, we'll see just a few clouds. The overnight low temperature near 50, very comfortable for sleeping. For tomorrow, plan on an ample amount of sunshine. It'll start to warm up. A little bit of a cooling lake breeze. We'll set up shop in the afternoon. The high temperature near 80, mostly sunny hot on Monday. The high near 90. I'm meteorologist Josh Nichols for Jazz 90.1.
And currently right now, we've got a few clouds out there. 67 degrees out at the airport and 70 here at member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Hi, this is Phil Dodd. Please join me this afternoon from 1 to 4 on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And at 34 minutes after the hour, we are Soundbites. Before we go any farther...
Wait a minute. I just got to correct previous announcement that he's on from 1 to 4. No, he's not on from 1 to 4. It's that's a Monday for a weekday schedule. So folks trying to listen in and expecting Phil Dodd, he's not going to be on at 1 o'clock
today.
past
No,
one.
It's past one now.
Yeah.
I just want to
Thank
say from when we were talking to Sharon, excellent job troubleshooting.
Yeah.
By the way, excellent job troubleshooting. I was very impressed by that. Well done, Sharon and her husband. Well done. The one thing you missed is the one thing you need to try, moving it to another place in your house to see if the connectivity works. And then trying it some other place, like a coffee shop, to see if your connectivity works. That will tell you whether or not the problem is in the laptop itself.
Yeah, sometimes if you've had like an addition put onto your house,
Yeah.
what used to be an outer wall that would have extra insulation and in it is now an inner wall, and you don't realize that, and the signal won't get through that wall very well.
Right. That's why we need something like that Wi-Fi analyzer program, because we can't see Wi-Fi signals.
Thank God.
Thank God, or we wouldn't be able to see anything else.
Yeah.
But that sees them for us, and that means it'll tell us where our problems are. So, and just for the fun of it, everybody, not idea of fun, okay, but I think everybody should download the Wi-Fi analyzer and walk around their house and their yard. One of the things that my wife wanted to sit on our front porch and use her computer. Well, I had to move the one of the mesh routers so that it would also, I walked out of the front porch
Cover
and had
that
not
area.
enough signal, and so I could cover that area. And it's easy enough to do. You just have to know that you have to do it. So back to the phones. Our next caller is Richard from Greece, New York. What's up, Richard?
Hi, I've got a quick question.
Yeah.
I got rid of Spectrum maybe 6 months ago, and I went with Greenlight. And I'm very happy there, but I still have my account Roadrunner. It's still there, and I can get mail, but now I cannot send mail. I wonder, is that what they're doing because you're not a customer anymore? Or?
When I left Spectrum, they canceled my email account immediately. But we hear from some other people who've left Spectrum and they've kept their email account. So it seems to be hit or miss. One of the things to make sure is that you're using the new server address. So in your email setup program, you want to use mail.twc.com as both the IMAP server and the SMTP server, the sending server and the receiving server. One way to check if your mail account still exists is to go to webmail.spectrum.net and try logging in there. So it works on their website.
It's worked. It's worked well for the rest of the mail. I still get mail, but when I go to send it, it's like it will not take it. So.
That's why I think it's a server setting error. Your sending server address needs to be changed. It used to be smtp-server.rochester.com. And we had to remember that and rattle it off. So if yours is still set to the old server, it may not work anymore. It needs to be changed to mail.twc.com.
All right, I will check that out for both incoming and outgoing.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay, guys, thank you.
Good luck.
Bye-bye.
One of the things that we tell people all the time is get a non-ISP email address and use that. Because if you change your ISP, as Richard did, you may lose access to all your mail. So if you use, I don't care, Gmail, Apple, I don't care.
Outlook,
no.
No, don't use.
Okay, I do care.
Do care. Yahoo? No, don't use Yahoo.
Don't use that. Yeah, but any one of the other, and they're free, but it means you're not tied to an individual internet service provider.
Right. And in the very olden days, when one computer couldn't handle sending mail and receiving mail,
right,
we had to have two separate servers for doing that. That's why all the mail programs are still set up with two separate mail servers.
Right. Because you can do that, but most places don't.
Now one computer can handle hundreds of virtual servers.
You're right, exactly. So yeah, there's generally speaking, either don't get or wean yourself off an internet internet service provider provided email address.
And
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it's so hard to do because you've been using it for 30 years now.
Right.
And so you have to tell all your friends your new address. But one of the nicest things about it is when you make a new address, there won't be that much spam coming into it because it's a new address.
Right.
For a while.
And also...
And then only give it to your closest friends. And
Right.
use the other address for like throwaway emails. You know, I want to sign up to read a news article, which is happening more and more now.
Oh, more and more.
Yeah, because companies are blocking cookies, so now you have to sign in to every single company you want to read.
I created a brand new Gmail account recently for that purpose, for
Yep.
that exact purpose, and suddenly realized I have an extra 15 gig of storage.
Yep.
So I can back up some stuff to that for a while. All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is Ralph from Greece, New York. What's up, Ralph?
Hello, I was wondering if you guys have any of your own computer businesses that you could help your customers, your people that listen to your show with?
One of us does.
I used to.
Dave used to. I do not, because I don't like people. Steve...
We used to have to pay to be a student for you to help them.
That's exactly right. You used to have to pay to be a student. But Steve still does have a place.
He's younger. I'm retired.
Yeah.
Right. Where you can
I'm going to be 60 this year.
shut up. You
I
puppy.
got socks older than that.
I know.
Exactly.
Well, would you be willing to tell it over the air, or
Do we
give it
have
to me
do we have
personally?
Mac Ave anywhere on our website?
I think we used to, the new website. We used to have local links on the old website.
You looking for Mac or PC?
Mostly PC.
Yeah, I would
does both.
highly recommend just going to, the Yellow Pages. There are a number of dealers out there, both in Brighton, and then there's one out in Webster that I know of. That different vendors. Look, we always have said go local, and even if you're down in Victor with Steve, go where it's convenient for you. And this way, you've got a place that you can go in, talk to a live person, and, tell them what's going on, and they'll give you a straight answer, hopefully.
Well, have you ever heard of Computer Services? It's a bit of ways down from Ridgemont, Wegmans in Greece.
That one I have not
No.
had any interaction
Relatively
with.
new one
Okay.
to me.
Okay, so I can look up in the Yellow Pages. And
Yeah.
stuff like
Yeah, and it's a very good idea that I put something on our website with local links.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll give that a start.
I'm adding it to the links I heard about at the moment.
Oh, good idea.
Yep.
And I will put that on our website. All right, thanks, Ralph.
Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Yep.
Bye now.
Yeah, we don't endorse anybody here.
No, because we're nonprofit. Matter of fact, we are in the middle of a fund drive, folks, and we do need your help because it is an emergency
And end of the fiscal year.
Yeah, we did not make our goal, and consequently, we need your help. So please, if you are able to, head on over to jazz901.org, hit the Donate Now button, and donate. We need your help to make our nut for the year, so that we can continue the same level of service that we have always brought you as a radio station. This is for the station. So go to jazz901.org, hit that Donate Now button, and make us happy. It doesn't take much, so all you have to do is hit that button and go. In the meantime, we'll go back to the phones and talk to Mark again from Greece, New York. Hi, Mark. What's up? Mark?
This is Andy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hit it right the first time. Go ahead,
Ha
Andy.
ha ha!
I've been called far worse.
Andy, I know Andy. He'll answer at any loud noise.
Yeah, basically.
Including that one.
Anyhow, for the gentleman who dumped Spectrum and was still using his email account, I can't stress enough he has to get another email account someplace else quickly, because with Spectrum, it's not a case of when, it's if, it's a case of when they're going to dump your account. There won't be any warning.
Yeah, they canceled my account before I got home from dropping my equipment off at the store.
Mine took a little while, but I knew it was coming, and I forwarded all my mail to my Gmail account, and then anything that came in showing was forwarded, I went back and took care of it. But it got to the point where it's like, okay, I'm done paying for this. And I think it went maybe another month at most, and then all of a sudden one day it stopped. The only thing coming through at that point was junk mail, which was fine by me. It cut them off. But Spectrum has no sense of humor, and they won't let you even pay a fee to keep the account. They want those accounts gone.
Yeah.
So
and Frontier is similar. Frontier will let you keep your email address after you cancel Frontier Internet, but they don't do tech support anymore. So if you have a problem with your email, you can't call Frontier. They expect you to go to Yahoo support, since Yahoo took over Frontier email, and finding help at Yahoo is very hard.
Impossible.
That's like finding help at Facebook.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Thanks, Andy.
Yep. I just thought I'd put that out there because you're on borrowed time. You really have to get another account.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely true. Thanks.
Well, happy Father's Day to everybody.
Happy Father's Day.
Yeah. The other thing too about your email address associated with your internet provider is if you move,
right,
you might move to an area where your provider doesn't exist, and so there's apparently an agreement among internet providers that they don't poach each other's accounts.
Right.
So you go to another city and all the providers are completely different.
Right.
One of them might buy another one, but you won't see, say, Comcast coming into Rochester because Spectrum's already here.
Well, that's why we suggest, using like
And that's not illegal or
Google
anything, huh?
or Mozilla. I mean, there's so many of them out there that you can,
Google,
use that aren't tied to your local. And like you said, if all of a sudden, like Spectrum and what was their old name?
Roadrunner.
Once they switched, you had to go through the hassle of changing all the stuff, and it was a pain in the butt. And whereas if you just have a simple Gmail or Mozilla or some of the others out there, it was no big deal.
And there's a lot to be said even about paid email. A couple of the podcasts that I listen to talk about paid email as a better alternative because you have more spam filtering at the other end. You can get unlimited email addresses just like you can with the bigger companies. And
What is this?
Fastmail.com is a big one that Leo Laporte talks about a lot. You can set up a lot of rules and schedules. And he says especially being a public figure, he can filter things so that people who really need to mail him, he can get their mail and not get inundated with spam from everybody else.
Right. So there are just a huge number of free accounts, a number of places where you pay for an account and get more features. It just depends
more storage.
For more storage, which is a feature. And so you can pick what you need out of the available features and cost ranges. But yeah, one of the things that we suggest is I have not looked at my Spectrum account in years. If I certainly haven't used it for anything. So if anybody's sending me stuff at that account, good for you.
It'll be full of spam.
It's probably I don't even bother to look at it.
And every company-wide announcement they sent.
Well, exactly. So yeah, having one of the things I like about Gmail is that they are very, very good at filtering spam. They certainly don't get all of it. Nobody does because there's always a new scam on the horizon somewhere.
Yeah, hasn't they said
they're very good?
They stop 1 billion messages a day?
Yeah.
A day.
A day.
So if they weren't that good, think how many more spam you'd be getting.
Yeah, exactly right.
Instead of a dozen a day, you'd be getting hundreds a day.
I have a number of email addresses, some of which are not Gmail powered, and I get a lot of spam on them. A lot. I can't tell you the number of rules I've written for that nonsense. And so, yeah, Gmail for me is the best because of their spam filtering.
Yeah, I used to get a lot when Jerry Seward was hosting my website for the business. I mean, we would get inundated. It was so much junk mail. But then once I closed down the business and got rid of that one, it's like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, because folks, I used to laugh because some folks, well, look at all these emails I'm getting. And, and they get maybe 50 to 60 emails, and that's a lot. And I'd sit there and say, no, I'm getting, 400 and 500 a day.
I've had people say I get 5 emails a day, and it's just too many. I can't handle that many.
Those come in a minute for me.
Yeah.
Particularly back when I was at RIT, everybody who could find my title would send me an email, and my title was public.
Yeah.
So, oh, he's a systems administrator? We want to sell him a service. I would get 100 an hour.
Yeah. Samantha, my office manager, would just sit there and go deleting them out of our account to where, Jerry set us up with another one and we just ignored it for the longest time and started using another one for, our customers and clients that are vendors that we worked with, because the other ones, like you say, they look you up and all of a sudden, bam, you get flooded with, it's like, no.
Well, it's one of the reasons, I had multiple email addresses set up, internal ones that nobody else knew about.
Yeah.
And that weren't connected to my account publicly, so nobody knew them.
Well, that's the nice advantage, believe it or not, that I use Gmail. I've set one up that, if I go into a site and they want my email address, I give them that one.
Mm-hmm.
And the advantage of it, having a junk mail spot. Plus, I gained another 15 gigs of free storage to back stuff up.
I also got an email address at duck.com. DuckDuckGo.
DuckDuckGo.
You can get an email address, and what it does is you get the email address, but they don't do anything with your email except forward it to another email address.
Oh, okay.
So once you've got it at that email address, you do what you want with it. But what DuckDuckGo has done has stripped out all the trackers, all the ads, all of that stuff. And when you answer it, it answers it through DuckDuckGo. So if I were, and I'm not, but if I were Nick at duck.com, I get email at nick.duck.com. I send email, thinks I'm sending it from nick.duck.com. And yet when I get an email, it strips out all the nonsense.
Now
Again, that is not my email address. If you send something to nick.duck.com, it doesn't go to me and you're just annoying someone else.
Somebody else named Nick.
Yeah.
Now, the industry is trying to work on a way to cut down on spam with new acronyms, DMARC and DKIM and SPF.
Right.
And I checked your Ask Nick domain. It doesn't have a DMARC record.
Yes, it does.
MX Toolbox said it doesn't.
Well,
and so that's probably why you can't send message to my Apple domain, because a lot of email receivers are now blocking messages that don't have these published records on the assumption that the bad guys aren't going to go to all the effort to publish their spam filtering records.
Right.
So bad guys will send out unsolicited email, and a law was passed is that all commercial email must have an unsubscribe button.
Right.
So the bad guys added an unsubscribe button, so they're following the law.
Right. It doesn't do anything.
Well, it unsubscribes you from that list and then subscribes you to 1,000 more.
You're right. Right. So yeah, I will check that. I could have sworn I had one. I know I have a DKIM. I know I have an SPF. Maybe I don't have a DMARC. Okay, I will check that.
Too many things to check.
Too many things to check.
So that's why you don't want to run your own mail server.
Boy, ain't that the truth. Ain't that the truth. Yeah. It used to be you just send email. Now, there's a whole lot you have to do.
There's a lot more to it now than.
And the reality is the bad guys are doing it faster than the good guys.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So what difference does it make? Yeah, and that's why every once in a while they say you should pay for email, because the bad guys will not pay for email. Except they will, because they make a lot of money on email.
Yeah, even if they send out 50,000 emails,
and it costs them $50.
Yeah,
and they need just one person to send them 100.
Yeah.
Yep.
Done.
Back in the olden days.
Back in the olden days.
Remember the Prodigy service.
Yeah.
Online service, along with CompuServe and Genie. Prodigy had a 25-cent per email send, which was about the cost of a stamp back then.
Right.
And they figured it would cut down on spam because spammers wouldn't pay that much. Turns out regular people won't pay that much to send email either.
Exactly right.
No,
a penny maybe.
It's
but no.
like AOL still around?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have customers that still have AOL addresses, and they say, people tell me to get a new address, but I've had this address forever. Yeah.
Remember when we used to get all the discs and CDs?
I found one the other day. I was cleaning up, and this is the odd part. I was cleaning up. That's the odd part. And I found a disc, and I thought, great, I have 75 hours of AOL for free.
Yeah.
Excellent.
They're owned by a venture fund now.
Yeah, everybody is. But yeah, so
no, Yahoo owns them now.
Oh,
Yahoo
remember owns AOL?
Right, but then someone else owns Yahoo.
Well, they're just
off.
They're just
Can't
fewer and
keep up
fewer
with
and
it.
fewer
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
fewer and fewer.
Other places are
And
gobbling them up
Apollo
like
Global
nobody's
Management, yeah. Well, remember the AOL Time Warner deal? That took so long to get approved, and then they both realized, oh, God, that was a horrible mess. Let's not do this.
Yeah, let's not do this. That's absolutely right. Anyway, couple of takeaways from this session of Soundbites. One is you need to make a donation to Soundbites right now. We are in an emergency pledge drive. We did not make our nut this year, and we need your help.
And our fiscal year ends at the end of
At
June.
the end of June. So you just have a week or two to head on over to jazz901.org, hit that big red donate now button, and give generously, please. The second thing is do a backup today. The third thing is get the 3-2-1 backup plan going on your system. And the fourth thing is get an email address that is not hooked to an internet service provider. And those are the things you need to do today. Today. Don't put them off.
They don't take that long.
Yeah.
And it's
the most important one is the backup.
And it's time well spent that will save you a lot of grief.
And once you set up your backup to be automatic, it's automatic.
You never have to think about it again.
But you should, every once in a while, make sure it's working. Don't ignore that. I've got a client now. Don't ignore that error message that says your hard drive is dying, or bad blocks are forming, or backup failed.
Right.
Or what was your mess? Backup completed, 0 files copied.
Backup successful.
Yeah.
It was backup completed. It did complete. It didn't work.
Yeah.
But it did finish. And that's read the whole error message.
Yep.
You need to back up. You need to have that peace of mind. And you don't have it right now. You may think you do, but you don't. If you don't have at least 2 offsite backups, again, if you're paying for Amazon Prime, you have the right to unlimited backup for your photos. Why are you not taking advantage of it? It's something you're already paying for. Go do it today. Just download the Amazon app, sign in with your Amazon Prime email and password, and you're kind of done. It's automatic from there on. All right, that music tells us we are done for another week. I want to thank everybody who called in. We had some really great questions this week. I want to thank Dave Enright, Steve Ray. I'm Nick Francesco. We'll be back next week with a whole lot more sound bites, but that depends on you making that pledge. Go to jazz901.org, hit that big red donate now button, and give generously. We will be back next week with a whole lot more sound bites on member-supported Jazz 90.1. Be good to one another, will you? We'll see you in just 166 hours.